Thank you all for coming. Tonight's debate, I think everybody here already knows, features the candidates in the September 9 Republican primary to decide the nominee in the November 4th election for the 99th Assembly District of New York State. And now I'm going to do something that will look odd, but I will explain why I'm doing it. And this is really not that significant in terms of the debate itself. Okay, what that was a piece of paper with D representing Mr. Degnan on it and B representing Mr. Ball, and it came up D. So, Mr. Degnan, would you like to respond first to the first question, or would you like to go first in the opening statement?
Sure, Bruce.
Okay, so the way we're going to work it, the protocol of the debate is that there will be 2 opening statements by each of the candidates of 3 minutes each. Mr. Degnan has requested that he goes first since his initial came up. And then when we ask the first question, each of the questions will be answered by the candidates within 2 minutes. And the North County News editorial board has prepared a series of 10 questions. Following those questions that the candidates answer, some of you may already have submitted questions in the lobby. If you haven't, you still have time to do that. And so after our questions from the editorial board of the paper, we will ask your questions. Of course, we will avoid repeating any of your questions that may already have been answered. And in addition to being the moderator, I'm also the timekeeper. And just to keep everything on the up and up, you can see the timer right here. And so nobody's using a watch. And I mean, you will hear, the candidates will hear a buzzer. And let's see if I can just make it work now. So when that buzzer goes off, it means that the allotted time for each candidate is up. So we will start with the opening statements, which again are 3 minutes each. And Mr. Degnan will go first. Just please let me set the timer, and then I will give you the high sign. Are you ready, Mr. Degnan?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Can everybody hear me okay? Does the microphone work? How about that test? Does that work?
Can we use the podium, Bruce? Is that okay to use the podium?
Yes, yes. Actually, you can use the podium.
Why don't you go use the podium? Testing?
But again, just to clarify, to answer Mr. Ball's question, and I should have said this, the candidates are free to either speak from where they are or to use the podium. Okay.
Then, in that case, Bruce, I will use the podium. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is John Degnan. I'd like to welcome you all to our forum tonight, and I'd also like to thank Bruce Apar and the folks of the North County News for supporting this. My name is John Degnan. As a Republican, I have held public office for more than 10 years. Ever since I was registered to vote, I've been registered in the Republican Party. My campaign for state assembly started back in May of this year. I was proud to have received the backing of the Putnam County Republican Committee by a 2-to-1 margin. Shortly after that victory, I directly became subjected to the smear tactics, lies, and deceptions at the hands of Mr. Ball. It started with Mr. Ball printing this paid political advertisement in our local newspapers using a false picture of me. Upon notification of Mr. Ball, he conveniently blamed it on what was termed an underpaid graphic artist. But 2 weeks later, Mr. Ball, with full knowledge, mailed a similar mailing to households throughout the Assembly District. He continued to deceive the voters of the district with more lies, lies about me and my record, but also blatant lies about himself and his own record. His actions were presented to the Westchester Fair Campaign Practices Committee, who found Mr. Ball guilty of 10 counts of false campaigning. This is the same man who less than 2 weeks ago was in front of my home with a video crew asking viewers what kind of father I was for raising my 2 children in the village of Brewster. Mr. Ball has lived a life of political corruption that began with his employment at Exceed Realty after his premature departure from the Air Force. Mr. Ball came to the village of Brewster and proposed a $75 million, let's say, redo of our community. After 10 years of very hard work of seeing a wastewater treatment plant built, 7 miles of sewer line put in, 7 miles of potable water drinking lines put in, repaving our streets from curb to curb, all the hard work that went into seeing $6 million of renovation go into our train station, and then finally seeing 48 units of senior housing built, and then forming a police department and working with the people of the community to bring it together. After Mr. Ball was rejected from his plan, he went on a tear campaign. He not only tore up the leaderships in that community, but he also tore up our community. Think about what will happen when that same tactic comes to your own hometown. Politicians are expected to lead. They're put in place to work with people to find commonality. Mr. Ball has time and time again disappointed us with his angry rhetoric, his fear-mongering, his intimidation, and his fear. Mr. Ball should know that I'm not going to back down from his bullying tactics, that the smear campaign that he has employed, the lies and the deception, it doesn't sit with me. I didn't suffer bullies in 4th grade, and I'm not going to suffer bullies at 48. Thank you.
Okay, now Mr. Ball will present his 3-minute opening statement.
Good evening, everybody. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. We now know why the Mayor of Brewster has articulated why he doesn't like me. But once again, he's missed the opportunity to tell you what he plans to do in the New York State Assembly, what side of the aisle he intends to stand on, what his platform will be, and what the issues are he believes in. Because this race is not about, from his end, this race to him is not about fighting for you in Albany. It's about settling a political score that began in the village of Brewster. I'm not going to talk about John Degnan's record in the village of Brewster. Enough has been said about that. If you need more information on that, drive through the village of Brewster at 7 a.m. in the morning and see for yourself how that village has been overrun, not only by illegal aliens, but by contractors and slumlords. And yes, it did happen on my opponent's watch. Folks, this is not even about the 99th Assembly District. 2 years ago, I told you that I would not back down, that I would not be bullied, I would not be bought. I went to Albany, and I have fought for you every day. I wear this race, this election, this campaign as a badge of honor. The reality is that my opponent, be it John Degnan, is merely a puppet for insiders on both sides of the aisle who want to silence my voice. Yes, I stand up to Sheldon Silver, a Democrat, that 800-pound gorilla in the New York State Assembly, every day. I have literally killed bills by debating on the floor of the Assembly and standing toe-to-toe with that man. But I've also, I'm the only Republican in this state who had the courage to stand up and ask Joe Bruno on our side of the aisle to step down. Reforming Albany is not about Republicans versus Democrats. Folks, I wish I could stand here today as a young conservative Republican and tell you that the reason why we've lost 2 million New Yorkers to overtaxation, the reason why Albany is corrupt, I wish I could tell you that that's because the Democrats are in control, but it's not. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. And whether it be my sitting state senator who, yes, he talks about a senior housing project in the village of Brewster. That senior housing project was paid for with your state dollars, and the subcontractors for that project were his top political donors and business associates through his private law firm. I'm a Republican, but first and foremost, I'm a New Yorker, and I've stood up to that type of corruption. We need more people on both sides of the aisle who are willing to say enough is enough, and who are willing to stand up to the leadership and go toe-to-toe and say, go ahead, take my office away, attack me personally. And that's why they're now shifting hundreds of thousands of dollars to support a very negative campaign to defeat me. Thank you.